state amendment of laws. We'll be trying to make a reflection of which existing legislations are going to be affected by this new initiative of OPRC bill. Next slide, please. So now, with this slide titled Oil Pollution Strategy, the Department of Transport is trying to demonstrate progress that we have made so far in as far as giving effect to oil pollution strategy. So now, the boxes in green represents the work that the department had successfully completed, while the boxes in yellow represent the work which is still in progress. So the top row boxes represent a problem in a nutshell, while the second row boxes represent a solution. And those third row boxes shows action that was taken by South African government, in particular Department of Transport, to deal with the solutions in the middle boxes. Now, going to the top box on the far left, marine pollution has always been a problem at our seas. So there is an international organization called IMO. In full, it is called International Maritime Organization. And South Africa is one of the member states which is affiliated to that organization. And the purpose of that organization is to provide standards and rules for which its member state must implement, especially coastal states. So now, because marine pollution was a problem, IMO developed, so those measures that are developed or rules that are developed by IMOs in order to deal with problems at seas are in most cases in the form of treaties or conventions. So now, because marine pollution was a problem and a large number of countries was complaining about it, including South Africa, IMO developed the so-called MAPOL Convention in order to solve the issue of pollution. So South Africa successfully ratified MAPOL Convention, thereby complying with Section 231, subsection 2 of the Constitution of the Republic of South Africa, which states that an international agreement becomes law in the Republic only after it has been approved by resolution by both the National Council of Provinces and the National Assembly, that is to say, Parliament. And after ratifying this MAPOL Convention, South Africa had no choice but to implement it. So in order to implement it, South Africa developed Marine Pollution, Prevention of Pollution from Ships Act of 1986. Now, thereby complying with the provisions of Section 231, subsection 4 of the Constitution, which provides that any international agreement becomes law in the Republic only after it had been enacted into national legislation. So now that yellow box which says Annex 4 and Annex 6, to be specific, Annex IV and Annex VI. So there we were trying to amend the old 1986 Act in order to give effect to Annex 4 and Annex 6. So I understand it is currently at Parliament waiting for presidential signature. Now the second box at the top titled Liability for Oil Pollution by Tankers. So there was also a problem that in the event where people pollute the seas, what is going to happen to them? How can they be held liable? So now IMO developed Civil Liability Convention, which South Africa gave effect through the Merchant Shipping Civil Liability Convention Act 25 of 2013. Now, the box titled Compensation for Oil Pollution Damage, IOPC, at the top, that is an IOPC fund which South Africa gave effect to by Merchant Shipping International Oil Pollution Compensation Fund Administration Act. So that basically means that if a person who pollutes our seas cannot be successfully held liable through the Merchant Shipping Civil Liability Convention Act, those costs may be claimed from the IOPC fund. I believe South Africa is contributing to that fund on a monthly basis, if not quarterly basis. Now, what brings us here today? Preparedness, response, and cooperation as a problem at the top. Now, it has always been a question as to, are countries always readily available to deal with pollution in the event where it happens? Are they able to respond as quickly as possible and prevent it from causing more damage? Now, the answer was no. Then IMO, as a result, developed the so-called OPRC Convention 1990. So South Africa acceded to that convention, and it ultimately had to give effect to it. So in order for South Africa to give effect to the OPRC Convention, OPRC Bill of 2022, which is before you today, was developed. Next slide, please. Now, with this slide, we are just trying to show the pillars that we as the department believe that this bill stands on them. So the OPRC bill stands on the following pillars: risk assessment, national oil spill contingency plan, training and exercise, reporting of incidents, cooperation as well. So with regard to cooperation, this is all about if, for instance, there is pollution in our seas, in South African waters, and that pollution, or for example, if that pollution happens in Mozambique, for argument's sake, and that pollution is so big that it escalates to our South African waters, are we going to be able, through legislative measures, to cooperate with Mozambique, where the pollution started, in order to deal with it? So that is all about cooperation. Next slide. Now, summary of the bill. The bill provides for the process to regulate, manage the preparedness and response to major marine oil pollution incident at national level, and as well as cooperation with other countries as necessary and appropriate. The cooperation covers development of contingency plans, research, training and exercise programs. Next slide. So we all know that South Africa is located along one of the busiest shipping routes called Europe to Asia Road. So more than 12,000 vessels are reported to be passing South African coast on different
You're not telling the other side of the story of what they're doing either. You're not saying what Hamas did. You're not saying what they did.
What Hamas did. Different types of cargoes,
from day one,
oil.
when you see the rapes and the videos, we've all seen it. This isn't something that
rapes and videos.
But stay on this here if you want to continue.
What rapes and videos?
But my concern when you're saying Israel's doing it, you're saying the other side isn't doing anything.
No, but I'm asking. There was no rapes during October 7th. They've shown no rapes from October 7th. They showed no beheaded babies. All that was all bullshit.
Stuff. No, there's plenty of stories. It's not all of them.
The Israeli articles that I saw recently said that there was only 2 babies killed. One was shot by a bullet, and the other one died in the hospital. There was no babies in ovens. There was no beheaded babies. All that was all bullshit.
To cooperate in the following areas
so go back to the part when you said they think they're better than you. You believe that Jews think they're better than everybody else.
It says in their Bible.
Okay, but you believe they're better than everybody else. Okay,
I didn't say they're better than everybody else.
They think.
Well, according to their scriptures.
Okay, but what if?
And if you look at how they operate, right, like they literally caught
at the moment,
people raping Palestinian prisoners, and there was riots. But the riots weren't because they were raping the prisoners. The riots were because they felt like they had the right to rape the fucking prisoners. That's why they almost had a fucking civil war, because they felt like they had the right to rape these prisoners. They felt like that was okay because they weren't Jewish. So, you know, when you have a society that operates like that, you're going to have fucking problems. And they're not the fucking most moral army. That's all fucking bullshit.
You're not telling the other side of the story of what they're doing either. You're not saying what Hamas did. You're not saying what they did.
What did Hamas do?
I mean, from day one, when you see the rapes and the videos, we've all seen it. This isn't something that
rapes and videos.
But stay on this here if you want to continue.
What rapes and videos?
But my concern when you're saying Israel's doing it, you're saying the other side isn't doing anything.
There was no rapes during October 7th. They've shown no rapes from October 7th. They showed no beheaded babies. All that was all bullshit.
No, there's plenty of stories. It's not all of them.
The Israeli articles that I saw recently said that there was only 2 babies killed. One was shot by a bullet, and the other one died in the hospital. There was no babies in ovens. There was no beheaded babies. All that was all bullshit.
So go back to the part when you said they think they're better than you. You believe that Jews think they're better than everybody else?
So the objects of the bill
but you believe they're better than everybody else.
into law of
I
South
didn't say they're
Africa
better than everybody
the
else.
relevant provisions of the
According to
international
their
convention
scripture,
relating to marine pollution
and if you look at how they operate, right?
It is also
they
the
literally
objective of this
caught
bill to reduce
people
and
raping
control the
Palestinian
pollution of the marine
prisoners,
environment
and there was riots.
by oil from ships,
But the riots weren't because they
offshore
were raping the
installations,
prisoners. The
seaports,
riots
and
were
oil
because
lifting
they felt like they had the right to
Next
rape
slide.
the fucking prisoners. That's why they almost had a fucking civil war, because
It is
they
also the
felt like they
objective
had
of
the
this bill
right
to
to rape
provide
these
for the safe,
prisoners. They felt like
effective,
that was
and
okay
efficient
because they
management
weren't
and
Jewish.
deployment of
So,
resources
you know, when you
in
have a
response
society that
to
operates like
cooperation
that, you're
in
going to have
and
fucking
control
problems. And they're
of
not the fucking
spills of
most
oil or any
moral army.
other
That's all fucking
pollutant from
bullshit.
ships.
You're not telling the other side of the story of
It's
what they're
also
doing
its
either. You're
intention
not
to
saying what
provide for the
Hamas did. You're not
effective
saying what they
cooperation
did.
with
What did
neighboring
Hamas do?
countries in matters
from
pertaining to
day
marine
one,
pollution
when you see the
preparedness,
rapes and the
response,
videos, we've all
and
seen it.
control.
This isn't something
Next
that
What
we...
rapes and videos?
But stay on this here if
So
you want to
now-
continue
Well,
with
no,
this.
but
The
what
schedule
rapes
of
and
the bill
videos?
But my
contains the
concern when you're
proposal
saying
to amend
Israel's
the South
doing it, you're
African
saying the other
Maritime
side
Safety
isn't
Authority
doing
of
anything.
No, but
1998
I'm asking. No,
in
there
order
was no
to
rapes
provide
during
in
October
Section
7th.
38 of that
They've
Act,
shown no rapes from
the
October
renaming
7th. They
of the
showed no
Maritime
beheaded
Fund
babies. All that was all
from that
bullshit.
Send you
name
stuff. No, there's plenty of
to
stories.
the marine
It's not
pollution
all of them.
preparedness and
The
response
Israeli articles
fund.
that I saw
The fund should
recently
be
said